Today we ask this. Should we be giving Jonathan Mingo, last year's second-round pick wide receiver, more grace, more leeway, more of a free pass for what happened last year, which, if you weren't paying attention, not much happened for Mingo last year. Not much happened.
No, not really much. Just under 50 catches, a little under 500 yards, no touchdowns.
One of those deals where it's like most games you're just wondering, was he out there? No, you're right. He did. He had that second and 6 catch in the third quarter. Yeah, you're right. He was out there. Does Jonathan Mingo get the same fresh start that we've pledged to give Bryce Young because they were both in such a bad situation last year? Right? Last year was, for lack of a better term, a dumpster fire. And that's tough for a rookie to come in and expect to play well in a dumpster fire. So I've said, for Bryce Young's sake, I'm treating this year as almost his rookie year. Because when it wasn't even just that some of the things his rookie year were tough to deal with. Some of them were actively like pulling him in the other direction. It wasn't just an anchor, right? Some of the stuff was like, the rope wasn't tied to an anchor that was holding him back. The rope was tied to a truck that was driving in the other direction and pulling him in the wrong way. So just getting back to square one and starting with a reset is maybe even a little much. So I'm looking at this and going, all right, well, if you give that to Bryce Young, don't you kind of have to give that to all the rookies? Like, it's not like Frank Reich was just the coach of Bryce Young. Frank Reich was the coach of everybody. It's not like David Tepper was just the owner of Bryce Young. He was the owner of the Panthers. Situation last year was terrible. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. This year seems better. Everybody's kind of singing that tune. Adam Thielen was on with Rich Eisen and gave his overall thoughts on the new coach, Dave Canales.
I had heard a lot about him from afar. Played against him when he was in Seattle and Tampa Bay, obviously last year. But I think what really has stuck out to me is everyone talked about how much energy and passion he had, and yes, he does have that. But I think it's like the cool and calmness that he has with having that passion that is very unique. For a guy like me, like I'm just all passion. Like I don't have like the calm, and cool, and collected. But he has a unique ability to kind of ride that line of like not too intense, but not too calm. So it's been cool to be around.
So a much better, more calm, yet energized, yet passionate situation. I can see both arguments here. And then my answer, I'll give it to you in a second. I don't think the situation affects wide receivers as much. Right? Wide receivers catch the balls thrown to you. Mingo had some drops. Catch the balls, like once you make one of those catches, then it's on you to be instinctual and run after the catch. Quarterbacks are much more at the mercy of their situation, at the mercy of the play designer, because they're the ones making the decisions. But my actual answer is this. It doesn't matter if you give him a reset or not. Mingo doesn't need the full reset because by putting him in a better situation, his role gets much smaller. He wasn't good enough to be a number 2 wide receiver last year. Could that be the situation? Maybe. Could it be the coaching staff was pulling in a million different ways and nobody had a concise and central message? Maybe. Could it be that he wasn't ready? Maybe. What we know is he wasn't a good enough number 2 wide receiver last year. But he doesn't need a reset to be like, all right, let's give him a reset and see if he can't be a better number 2. He's going to be asked to be the number 4 this year. So it's not even a reset. It's a completely different situation. The reason why I say Bryce Young gets the leeway and we get to take a step back and give him this reset is because he's still going to have to be the starting quarterback. He's still going to have to be the guy that makes the throw on third down. He's still going to be the guy that makes the check on the 2-minute drill. He's still going to have to be that. Jonathan Mingo last year, when Adam Thielen, and at times they expected Jonathan Mingo to be next. At times it was Chark. At times it was a few others, but it was Mingo for a few. He was asked to be the number 2 wide receiver at times, and he didn't appear ready. Even if it's like, with a reset, he is ready, it doesn't matter because he's not going to be asked to do that. It's going to be Deontay Johnson, likely Adam Thielen, likely Xavier Legette, and then Jonathan Mingo. And that's assuming that nobody surprises. Is there a world where Mingo gets above Legette because Legette, I don't know, is a hamstring or something and he's a rookie and fine. Yeah, maybe.
In due time.
It would be catastrophic if Mingo is the number 2 wide receiver on this football team.
Unless he's just balling out.
Well, no, I mean, he would have to be mighty, mighty, mighty surprising because you just have so much more invested in the other 3. You have a first-round pick in Legette. You have so much more money invested in Deontay Johnson and Adam Thielen that, like, even for Mingo to prove that he's balling out, somebody else probably has to get hurt, and then he has to take advantage of that opportunity. Mingo gets to this is not a disrespect to Mingo. Focus on you. Focus on you. Right? You're going to have a ton of time running sporadic routes, right? Hey, we need 4 wide receivers. Mingo, you're in. He gets out there. He runs a route. All right, never mind. We're back to tight ends. And then he's back on the sideline, and he gets to think about that route. What did he do right? What did he do wrong? Bryce Young is not coming off the field. Jonathan Mingo does not need the same amount of leeway and kind of understanding from us or from anybody because just naturally by way of the roster construction, by way of being put in a better situation, he's going to be asked to do less. Think of it like a basketball player. Basketball player on a bad team is forced to put up 20 shots a game. That's Bryce Young. Right? Bryce Young was asked to put up 20 shots a game last night. He had nobody helping him get open. He had no spacing on the floor. He had no big man setting screens for him. He had to put up 20 shots. This year, guess what? He still has to put up 20 shots a game. Bryce Young still has to be the main usage guy. What you hope after resetting is he gets used to playing with a screener and with better shooters and with somebody else that can take the number 1 defensive perimeter assignment. Jonathan Mingo is somebody that went from we need you to score 12 points per game. And instead of resetting and going, I wonder if you can score 12, we're now going how about a little 3-and-D, right? How about you play a role? You rebound and you hustle when you're out there and you knock down an open jumper every now and then.
Yeah. Get us 9.
Yeah, 9 on a good day, right? 9 on the second half of a back-to-back when we want to get our stars a little bit extra rest. That's all Mingo needs to do. And that would be good. That'd be good. Right? When you're in the game and we call play action and you're open on a deep ball, catch it. Mm-hmm. Right? Catch it. We don't need you beating number 1 coverage. We don't need you beating one-on-one on the outside because especially when Thielen was in the slot, Mingo sometimes was the number 1 outside wide receiver. He would have been drawing a number 1 corner at times last year. He might not see that all year this year.
No.
So it's is he going to do better in the situations he was in last year? I have no clue. Hopefully he is not in any of the situations he was in last year.
But you have to project, you have to look going forward as well. It's obviously there's injuries always can take into consideration. We've already seen Legette, with his hamstring thing. So he might have to step and play a little bit more than what's expected. But also, after this season, Deontay Johnson's a free agent. No guarantee he comes back. And Adam Thielen's 34, turning 35, if I remember correctly.
He's up there. I know that.
So eventually Mingo, if he is the second-round pick that he was taken to be, he's going to eventually have to be a top 2 receiver for your team.
Hopefully. Or at least
top three minimum,
yeah.
But he's got to play a bunch.
If Deontay Johnson has a big year, they'll pay him and he'll come back.
You hope.
Xavier Legette's not going anywhere anytime soon.
And Thielen has 1 more year left on his deal after this season.
I think it would be glorious if next offseason Adam Thielen feels like a luxury.
Yeah.
If when we're having this conversation going into next year's camp, if they had moved on from Adam Thielen, or if it feels like, I don't know, Adam Thielen's going to be the mascot of the wide receiver room.
The savvy vet 4th receiver.
I think that would be an absolute gangbusters win for the Panthers. But that would that might be it. Bryce Young's reset needs to happen instantaneously.
Mm-hmm.
Mingo's reset gets to happen over the course of the next season. Yeah. That's where he gets to reset and start back up. So it's not the same, but similar.